sponsored by EA.
Hey everyone, it's AlluringSimmer here, and if you're new here, then welcome to Planet Allura, and if you've been here before, then welcome back. Today, we are making Sky, who is Bloom's partner from the Winx Club. Before we get into today's video, I just want to share that I'm part of the EA Creator Network, which means you can use my code AlluringSimmer when purchasing Sims 4 DLC, or visit my website at AlluringSimmer.com/creator to see other eligible EA titles that you can use my code AlluringSimmer for when making purchases on the EA app. Thank you so much to everyone who's used my code. I really appreciate all the support, as I do receive a commission when you use my code. Now let's get into today's video. Today we are making Sky, who is, as I said before, Bloom's partner, Bloom's fiance from the Winx Club. If you haven't seen the previous episodes of me making all of the different specialists, or if you haven't seen the videos where I've made all of the Winx girls, then definitely consider to check it out. I will have a link to his partner, Bloom, her creative sim, and her build, as well as the previous specialist video. And I'll make sure to also link the playlist of all the specialists so you can check them out as well. Something else I want to mention is this is our last specialist that we're creating. And one thing that I did forget to do when I was making them was making them all spellcasters, which I will be doing before we get into the Let's Play. I will be giving them the specialist outfit that I gave them for their formal wear. I'll make that their spellcaster look, and then I'll change their formal wear to an actual like suit or just, regular formal attire. I do want to say that I definitely enjoyed creating all their partners, but honestly, I more so enjoyed seeing them with the Winx girls afterwards. Like putting them together with their partners was like really cute to see versus like actually making the guys. Like if I'm being honest, y'all, and you guys can be honest with me too, I don't really like making males and I don't know if that's controversial to say, but I don't find it fun. I don't feel like there's a lot of custom content made for like masculine frames, and even if there is, I don't know, I just don't have as much fun styling them. So I don't know what to say, but I feel like they match their characters. And to be realistic, like them in the show, it's not like they have much style to begin with. Like the girls are the ones with like trending fashion and like amazing looks, while the guys are kind of just there. Like I don't really know what to say, but I'm still glad that they're like somewhat accurate to how they look in the show. Now let's just get into like his personality, as I did with the other specialists that we created. One thing about Sky is he's someone that has a strong sense of duty. He is sometimes putting his duties before his partner and his friends, and the reason for that is Sky is actually royalty. He is a prince. Obviously his parents are like the king and queen, and that means he has certain duties and certain responsibilities that he has to fulfill, which sometimes gets in the way of his personal like friendship and romantic relationship. Despite this, he's still seen as like a decent leader. He's definitely someone who can take charge in situations where it's needed, and the rest of the specialists allow him to do that. Something else to say about him is he's kind, and he doesn't really have trouble like making new friends. He's very generous, which is good, because sometimes with royalty, or the way that it's portrayed, especially in like shows, is they tend to be snobs. So having someone who's royalty that also is still like caring and wants to see other people do well is really good. I guess something else to kind of go with that though is the fact that he's not necessarily someone that wants to be royalty. Like obviously that's the life he was born into, but he doesn't really enjoy like the training portion. He doesn't really realize how much it takes in order for him to become a king later on. When it comes to like his negative traits, he does tend to be jealous, overprotective, and possessive of Bloom, which basically happens anytime he feels like the relationship is being threatened. And because of this jealousy, it also leads to him sometimes questioning Bloom and whether or not her like love for him is true, and that can sometimes lead to conflict in the relationship. There's actually something that I want to make a correction to, and also it's related to Sky, is the fact that in the previous like specialist episode where I made Stella's partner, I wrote Stella's boyfriend. Technically it's Stella's fiance, so when we get into the Let's Play, like they'll also be engaged to each other, like Stella and her partner Brandon. The reason why I bring Brandon up is because Brandon is actually like a squire to Sky, and that actually led to them sometimes switching identities in order to protect Sky as a royal member. So there was a long period of time in the show where Sky was referred to as Brandon in order to protect his identity. Sky is also the only specialist who comes from royalty and is, has rights to the throne. It's also mentioned in the first season that he has a dog named Lady, and he's also the only known specialist to have a pet. Another little fun fact about him that kind of connects back to Aisha and Nabu, they were in an arranged relationship before they decided to like get married, and Sky is the only other one besides Aisha and Nabu who's in an arranged marriage. However, his was unsuccessful and he ended up calling off the wedding in favor to be with Bloom. Him and Brandon are also the strongest specialists, and even though Sky is friends with Riven, they do also have a slight rivalry. When I named him, which you'll see later on in the video, you'll just see later on in the let's play, I gave him the last name Arakleon. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. That's actually the name of the kingdom that he's the prince for. And as I said before, I don't really know if they have last names, and if they do, like, I don't know what they are. So I've just been like making it up based off something related to like their lore or their background. And now that we've talked about like his relationship, his personality, and you've gotten to know him a little bit better, I also want to talk about his skills, as I mentioned with some of the other guys, in terms of like what he's able to do. So Sky is known as an excellent swordsman, which kind of makes sense. I feel like with royalty, they're kind of trained to learn how to fight, usually with swords if we think of like royalty in real life. And he has a blue Phanto blade, which is styled after a long sword, and he also uses a matching blue Phanto shield, a boomerang, a longbow, and a hoverboard, which are all partially or entirely translucent. Something that's fun about this is I definitely want to incorporate Batu quite a bit with this let's play to give them like fun little weapons that they can use. And I also am going to be using a lot of like Realm of Magic gameplays, that way they can do like use magical powers as well. We don't really have a lot of like weaponry in The Sims other than what we got with Star Wars. If there's anything else that you can think of that we could potentially use, then let me know in the comments down below. I think it would be cool if we got like archery or something at some point. I know that with like Get Famous, there's like the ability to do like a sword fighting scene, and then I think you can also spar with something, I don't know what pack it's from, but there's like an item that you can use to like spar with others, and we can also use like the punching bag. So there's definitely different things that we can use to like level up their fitness and also kind of connect it back to their like fitness level or their activities that they would do in the show. As I mentioned before, they will not be living at the Winx Villa because this is Barbie's dream house. This is Ken's dream house. So we are going to give them their own place to live in. I don't know if I'm going to have them live in separate apartments. I think it'll probably just be easier to give them like their own shared mansion, which I will not be building because I've already invested so much time into 2 quite large builds. The Winx Villa at this point is still not quite done, but it will be done before the first episode of the Let's Play, which I hope to get out by next week. But if you haven't seen it already, this is completely unrelated to the Winx Let's Play, but I did make the Love Island Villa in The Sims, and I'm planning on doing Love Island on my stream on Twitch and YouTube. And if you haven't already seen that video, consider to check it out. I did a tour, and I also have like a plethora of VODs of where I was working on the Love Island build. I didn't do it as a speed build for the final video because I didn't want to like cut pieces of footage from like stream. So instead I just did a full-on tour so you can see the whole villa, see what everything looks like, and it's also available on the gallery. I did use minimal custom content, but if you just check include custom content, you should still be able to download it as long as you have the packs that I used for the build. And I feel like after making that and also going to be working on the Winx Villa, I think that's been enough large builds for quite some time. I won't be doing any large builds in the near future. So we'll download their house off the gallery and we will get into that Let's Play very soon. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.